Thank you.
Well, there are a few things to check off, and that's 7 items that I want to cover today, because last week I started out with some ideas about innate powers that you were born with. Just because you incarnated, you have these things going for you. Well, they're in you. But it's like having gifts under a Christmas tree. If you don't know where the tree is, you don't know there's gifts there. So we could have capabilities that we don't know about, therefore we never apply them. And these are not things, by the way, that are talents, because you're all born with certain talents, but they differ. These are things that we all have, and we can all use them if we know they're there and we activate them. That's the word I want to use, activate, because that comes from not only mysticism, but old initiation schools, ancient initiation schools from Egypt and in Egypt and Greece would activate certain powers within the initiates, and I believe that these are the 12 powers that they activated. Also, in mystical tradition of Christianity, Jesus calling the 12 disciples, he was calling forth 12 attributes, and some mystical schools actually attribute certain of various ones of these attributes with certain ones of the disciples. And when you read them that way, it just kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I just want the power. I read the back of the book first, and I just want I want the juice. So that's what I want to share with you today, the juice of these things. So how many of you were here last week? It's okay to say you weren't. How many of you started applying some of these powers? Better than first service. I mean, honestly, one woman was just, she did, and I just talked to her. But Ernest Holmes, I'm not going to quote Ernest Holmes well, because this just came to me, but he said something to the effect of, he doesn't really care what you knew. He cared what you proved to yourself. And I am so in love with this wisdom and this knowledge again, because I'm proving it again to myself. And I'm very grateful. It's changing my life. And I'm going to share it with you, and I hope that it changes your life. But it will only change it if you activate it, if you use it, if you apply it. And goodness gracious, how many of you had to drive here? It's a bother, isn't it? Sometimes a bother to drive in Seattle. How many of you could say that sometimes? Not all the time. So you got in your car taking a chance that you could get here. God bless you. So if you're here, take the information and use it. Apply it and become more fully yourself, because if you incarnated, you were incarnated to demonstrate these ideas or capacities. So I was trying to come up with a song, and I did sort of show up with one. It's at the time of creation, my spirit gave to me 12 capacities. Now that's as far as I've gotten. And I figure, like, if 12 weeks from now, I'll have the end of it. One line at a time. So last week we activated faith, strength, wisdom, love, and power. I talked to Mike Sosa, who activated faith. I think it was first service. Big shift in his head. And I said, so how was it? What was it like last week? And he said, well, I was starting to get an earache, but I said to it, I may be, the facial expression may be an exaggeration. Words are the same. And I said to it, I don't need an earache. And it was gone. Why? Because he has faith. If you have the faith of a mustard seed, and by the way, the pineal gland is the size of a little piece of rice. If you have that much faith, you can say, be gone. Now, I don't know if you want to move a mountain. Honestly, if you had that much faith, you'd know the mountain was there on purpose. But you can say, be gone to an earache. Really? What would you be willing to have in your life if you knew you had the faith to have it happen? See, a lot of us dummy down. We play small because we don't want to be disappointed. If you're disappointed a lot, faith is the antidote to that disappointment, especially spiritual disappointment. So we covered 5 of those. If you weren't here, they are available on CDs in the bookstore, and also we have a YouTube channel so you can watch the whole service, or at least that part of my talk. Now I get to move very quickly into 7 more powers or capabilities. I need to get your permission ahead of time. I really ran out of time first service, and so I didn't do it the way I really wanted to. So do I have permission to go a little bit over? Well, thank you, Lon. You said that, right? Oh, it was you. Okay. Yeah. But Lon took credit for it. I know he's going. That bear is big. That's a very big bear. If you're new here and you're wondering what's with the bears, well, we're an open, inclusive community. And if you're stuffed, we're still willing to love you. But really what we're doing is we give bears away to Children's Hospital and other organizations that give bears to children in distress. So what we do first is we just love on them, so that we're not only giving the bear, but we're also giving a little bit of our consciousness, because consciousness is contagious. So why not be contagious with love? So thank you. And if anybody wants to bring bears next week, you can hold them, love them, bless them, and then put them under the tree afterwards. So moving on, I want to initiate the process of us knowing about 7 more powers or capacities, strengths, abilities. They're already within you. And you actually got something you can keep so that you remember where these puppies are. Well, they're not puppies, they're powers. They probably don't like being called puppies. Where these powers are. So let's go now to the power of imagination. The imagination is in the pituitary gland, which is right below the pineal gland. So if you let's start first with activating the crown chakra, the I am essence. That it's, if we were going to talk about chakras, it's kind of a chakra, but it's more than a chakra. So this is beyond chakra. A wonderful woman was saying, as she left first service, she says, I'm so grateful you talked about chakras. No, these are bigger than chakras. Chakras are power centers, but these are different. They might be in the same location, but they're actually different. And they actually have intelligence and power in them. So the crown chakra is not on your head, it's above, but our connection to it is by just massaging this area. Now what this does is it actually lets the body remember that it is connected to something greater than itself, which is its whole self. See, we do not live in our body lives in us. And the connection from the invisible to the visible is through the crown chakra. It's the I am essence. In Christianity, it might be called the Christ. In Hinduism, it would be called the Atman. It is that which is beyond personality, and yet contains personality. So if you go straight down from the crown chakra, and you go to right in the middle of your eyes, and so if you take this, and you find the place where these two energies meet, that's the pituitary gland, and that is the center of your imagination. Now, imagination is a power. It can be called upon, it can be activated, it can be used, it can be strengthened, it can be made useful. So for people who say, I can't imagine, great, I got an exercise for you. Ding, 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 ding. Because it's important that you imagine, because that's what allowed our species to go beyond what is happening into what could happen. It's the imagination that allows us to conceive of something that hasn't been there before. It's been said that seeing is believing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this kind of seeing is believing. It can be inner seeing that is believing. It is your inner eye. It is your third eye. It's the ability to see beyond what other people perceive of. Phineas P. Quimby, who was the founder of All New Thought, we are a New Thought church. His beginning thoughts were trickled down into not only what the Centers for Spiritual Living, but into Unity and other New Thought churches. He said this: when people say it's all in your imagination, they seem to mean that it is nothing. On the contrary, imagination is probably the most powerful faculty of the human mind, and thousands of practical men today know that what the mind imagines comes into fact. He wrote that 1860, maybe. So he was beginning to see that if you can't imagine it, you can't claim it, you can't be it. And it's incredibly important for those of you that know the creative process. If you've taken Beyond Limits, you know the creative process, and part of the creative process is a thought plus a feeling will equal a result. But it's very hard to feel something if you can't imagine it. So first you imagine it, and then you can move into the feeling of it. And that is so incredible to the feeling process, because you can think. But if there is no feeling, and the feeling is the juice, if there's no juice, there's no demonstration. How many of you thought a bunch of thoughts and they didn't happen? So you look for the juice. The juice happens when you can step into this greater thought, move around in it, feel it. Juice. So, imagination is incredibly important. Who would like to activate their imagination? All right, TC. Quick.
I thought everyone's going to raise their hand.
No.
Okay.
Well, even if they did, you were it.
Okay.
Okay, so this is really simple. I love it from up here. Okay, chin up a little bit, honey. There you go. All right, so right there. So tell me when this feels open. Okay, great. So move straight down from my hand to right where your eyes are, the middle of your eyes. Move back, so it's going to be right about there at the level of your eyes. And when you can imagine that true, raise your hand. Great. So now imagine that this light is coming from your higher self. So this is just to remind you of what you already know. My finger just to remind you of where it happens. So this inner light is coming right into you, right where your pituitary gland is. And guess what? Your body knows where your pituitary gland is. So don't think about it. Just go there and have it light up. And when you feel that light, and it's a white light, it's an intense light, but it's also a cool light. When you feel that, raise your hand. Okay, good, you're activated. Meow. There you go. That was just a little extra Kathianneism. Meow. And by the way, I will ask you later to come up, and you're going to share that activation with everybody. So anybody that comes up is also going to have to share it later. Oh, I didn't tell you that first, did I? Probably for a reason. Now we move into two other capacities, and I'm going to put them together because they go together. Understanding and will. Understanding is right here. So put your hand right above your forehead. Right above your eyebrows are, right here. That's understanding. Now, I've known about this since I went to ministerial school, and then I started taking Beyond Limits. And in Beyond Limits, people come in and they have a way the world works, and then they're introduced to another way the world works. So this is all based on cause and effect, but on a very material level. And then this is the law of cause and effect on a spiritual material level. And so it seems like they have to go from one world to the next world. And I saw so many people listening to what I was presenting to them and going, literally, they'd have their hands exactly like that. And it's like what they were saying is, I just don't understand. See, our body knows that this is the center of understanding, and we actually try to massage it at times. We unconsciously want to get it activated. Now, let me tell you a little bit about understanding. Understanding means that you can put together pieces. Knowledge is just facts. We have lots of facts, and if you don't have facts, you get on Google and you can find any fact you want. Doesn't mean you can understand. Understanding is the ability to take all kinds of knowledge, synthesize it into a database that will serve you. I mean, how many of you know people who have lots of facts and are really stupid? I mean, I said, you know what? I just love this. People are going, I'm not going to say their name. You're so cute. We don't talk bad about people. But that's not that they're stupid. They just don't know how to understand what they know. So an illustration is, since I've been working with this, because I knew I was going to do this talk, I've been activating these centers. And for the last 3 years, I have not been able to clip, meaning shave, the whiskers off of my little gelding. Because I took him to a trainer. She was really rough with him. She got him clipped, but he wouldn't let me turn on a clipper. Go crazy. So she must have been pretty mean. So for 3 years, he just gets whiskery. And all of a sudden, I'm in my house, but I get what I can do based on the trainings I've got, but they were kind of like not sort of random. And all of a sudden, they came together, and I knew how to clip him so that he would love it. So I went out there, applied my new knowledge, and he is now whisker-free. Very handsome, very handsome. That's understanding. The information was always there. The knowledge of these pieces and parts were there. But to know how to put them together for a new application came from this power center called understanding. Now, I'm going to talk about will, and then we'll activate will and understanding. Will is right above understanding. Will is about here. So go up from understanding, and it's kind of in the center of your forehead, but up just a tiny bit. This is the ability to decide and follow through. Now, decision comes from the judgment center or wisdom, but to monitor your thoughts comes from will. Now, when you are full of will, you can be willful. When you have no will, you can be willless. Either way, there's a tendency to get headaches. Right in here. Willful people can get lots of headaches here. Now, how many of you have noticed, because the body doesn't lie, and as I said last week, it's not body, mind, and spirit, it's body, mind, spirit. So spirit and mind are in the body. It's all the same. So have you noticed other people who are willful? They kind of almost lead with their forehead, especially when they want to do something, they just kind of go. Have you noticed that? You will. Now that I've mentioned it, you'll start noticing some people, they'll go, all right. The problem is that can be painful. And it can also get you in trouble. How many of you have done things that you wish you hadn't done, but you said you were going to do it, so you do it anyway? Willful. A better way is to be willing, which is I will to will thy will, which has to come from great faith. That's why faith is always the first power to be activated, because you have to have faith in something greater than yourself to be willing to follow what that something greater asks you to do or moves through you to do. So, who would like to have more understanding? Okay, come on up. I know. Then it just occurred to you, you just said that. I love it. That's very good. Perfect. Okay, you're going to go for understanding. Who knows that they need to have more will? Meaning, you can keep your mind where you want it to go. So this is for people who say, I can't help myself. I just think those things. I don't want to be negative and worry, but my mind goes there. Okay, come on up. We should not be the victim of our mind, by the way. Listen, you are not your mind. You have one. If you can watch it, you're that which watches it, even as you watch it carrying you away. you're still the one that watches it carrying you away. All right? So let's go for understanding first. Chin up a tiny bit. All right. Okay, so go right here down to where your eyes are, and then out to where so you move the energy out and in towards your eyebrows. And let me know when you can feel the light starting to show up there. Great. Now let it grow stronger. There you go. You have the understanding of Solomon. Solomon had great understanding. Thank you. Okay, and you, chin up a tiny bit, and you want will, to have a greater will. So let this light come down through you, and then move out right into here. And let me know when you can feel that lighting up on the top of your forehead. Great. You're fast. You're easy. All these people looking at you helps. It actually does, because you're cheering for her. At a level you're cheering for, aren't you? This is so much easier in a group. Really, that's why Jesus always had a crowd. Okay, there you go. So now you have the will to direct your thoughts anywhere the I am power chooses for them to go. You are no longer a victim of your thoughts. There you go. That's God. The next one that I want to talk about is order. Order is one of my favorites. It's located right behind the navel, about 2 inches. It's in the center of the body and should be the center of your life. It's been written that order is the first law of the universe, and out of order comes balance, harmony, and beauty. So if you want more balance, harmony, and beauty in your life, you want more order. Divine order is something that needs to be called for if you're out of balance in your finances, your relationships, any function of your body. So if you have too much or too little of something in your body, if you have too many bills and not enough income in your finances, if you give more to your family than your family responds and gives back to you, things are out of order. But instead of fixing, call forth the power, and things start to fall into place. Now, with any medication, and this is a medication, this is a medicine, a spiritual medicine, there must be a warning label. So here's the warning label. You will feel a compulsive instinct to clean out your closet, your cupboards, your purse, and your car. I'm sorry. Just saying. Because order you will want to be in order. You want to bring order. I think that one of the reasons that I have had good finances for most of my adult life is because a woman named Virginia Zeal taught me the 12 powers of man when I was in ministerial school, and I discovered order, and order really works. Anytime my finances felt out of balance, I would declare order, and order works. Order also helps me when I want to, in my time management. How many of you think that time just yanks you around, and then order? It's all about order. It's having a balanced life. Who needs more order? Come on up. Right over here. Okay. All right, engine's on. So this is just to remind you, your body knows that this is the opening, your body knows what this is for. So this is just to remind your body, to remind you, to feel the connection with the infinite that's over you. And now it moves down through you and down your spine. It goes down your spine, and then it goes inwards towards your belly, right across from your belly button. And that's your order center. Now, allow that light that is coming in through the top of your head to go there, and then let it expand. And when it starts to expand and that light becomes warmer, raise your hand. Great. So, you are now in alignment with the first law of the universe. The universe is in order, and so are you. So now everything flows smoothly. And so it is. So the way that order shows up often is that things are smoothed out. There's less push and pulling, counterbalancing. It's just, okay. Order. That was easy. That was easy. All right, so now let's move on to the next power that we're going to activate, which is zeal. Now, as I was a young seeker of truth, I had zeal. I had lots of zeal. And what I was reminded of recently, maybe about 6 weeks ago when I was doing the prosperity program, is I was reading this little tiny book on prosperity, and it was A to Z, Prosperity from A to Z by somebody named Russell. And Z, since I always open the book at the back, I read Zeal first. And it said, no one can prosper if there is no zeal, because zeal is enthusiasm, it's sizzle. Zeal has been known as the breath of God or the fire from heaven. And unless there's something smoking going on, not smoking going on, but unless there's something with some heat to it and enthusiasm, it's hard to prosper. And to prosper means to grow and to flourish. Now, I don't mean you can't work really hard and things will go, but there's not the natural sense of growth because there's been no enthusiasm. And about 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago, I, at the same time, was having horrible headaches in the back of my head and down my shoulders. And so I'm reading about zeal, and so I thought, I don't have as much zeal as I used to. And so I went to sleep thinking that zeal was now activated, and I haven't had a headache since, not in the back. Because it's like my body missed it, missed zeal, enthusiasm. What's life about if there's no enthusiasm? You can have enthusiasm for anything. What's really exciting is that when people meet each other, there's enthusiasm. And then they are together for a while, and then the enthusiasm wanes. That's what I see in movies. Here's the deal. It's a power. It's a capacity. You can call it forward. Yay! Sizzle. Just saying. All right. Who would like to have more sizzle? Oh, before you do that. No, I don't want to say that. Anyway, I can honestly say that sizzle makes a difference. Who would like more sizzle in their life? Easy to get to. Okay, come on up. Because you're going to have to come up later. I think it's one of the bears. Okay, chin up a little bit. Just so you're level, just level. Yeah, level. You know that dog and God is very close. So God is in the house. So what I'd love for you to do is to feel your connection with the infinite. And when you feel that opening it up, say so. Great. Now, bring the energy right back here. And let this open up. And when you feel it getting hot, yeah, great. Okay, yeah, ooh, it did get hot. I know, woo, baby. Guys. So, Charles Fillmore, who lived for a very long time, and I'm thinking he was in his late 80s, early 90s, at a time when the average life expectancy was 45 years old. And he woke up and he would say every day, I fairly sizzle with zeal and a zest for life. And think of all the things that he did. So much. But he didn't rest. He didn't have to. He was filled with zeal. The next thing that I want to bring up is the power, the capacity for elimination. It is contained with the intestines. Elimination is incredibly important. In Hinduism, they have a trinity, and they have a God of creation, sustaining, and destruction. You create, sustain, destroy. Create, sustain, destroy. And if there wasn't this destructive energy, there could be no more creation. And what's so interesting is that when you go to last time I went to India, I found out that the sustainer and the destroyer are equally worshipped. The creator God's only got one temple, because that's going to happen if these two happen. This is just natural. Creation's natural if you're willing to let things go. So elimination needs to be called forth. That capacity needs to be owned. You need to own it, call it forth, activate it. If it's difficult for you to let things go emotionally or mentally and physically, if you hang on to things, if you're still hanging on to memories, whether good or bad, and you're not able to live in the now, elimination is being called for. And much like divine order, you will find yourself being able to release material things. But I'm thinking about people who say they can't forgive. They can't let go of an opinion. They can't. They can't trust again. Any of that can't stuff is usually an elimination. And then your will can direct you in the right place. So who knows that they really could use some activation in the realm of elimination? All right, come on up. Gosh, you guys are so good. Thank you. You're a sweet and wonderful person. So raise your chin just a tiny bit, just right there so your head's level. Okay, so when you can start to feel your connection with your greater self through this crown chakra, simply raise your hand. Great. Now let this light move through you, just plunge through you, following the inside of your spine until it reaches the intestines, and then fill your intestines with pink light. Pink is loving. It's better to have a loving elimination. Just saying. Okay, is it filled yet? Great. So now you can let go of anything. You are free. You are not bound by anything. Nothing has you. You have everything. And through your discretion, you can choose what serves you and release the rest. Okay, there you go. The last one is life. Now, life is located in the reproductive organs. And as someone said to me after first service, what if I have no reproductive organs? Well, your spiritual self still does. So let's just leave it at that. You're a spiritual being, and where they might have been or could have been, they are. You have now. Life is important because life is that ability to it's like your command center. It is the juice of creation. And life allows us to procreate, but I want to just use the word create. Life allows you to create. Life allows you to constantly come up with new stuff. We are the creating species of the universe that we know of. Now, there are a lot of intelligent beings out there. I believe whales are intelligent. I believe most mammals are intelligent, but they don't create things. My dog doesn't say, you know, the house would be better if we just put some pillows in it. I mean, you know, they don't decorate, except for some birds. Then there you go. Do you see what I'm saying? We are creative, and that comes from our life center. It is that which animates us. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. He wasn't saying it just about him. He was saying it because I have discovered my life center. And if I know my life center, I get to do whatever I want with my life. And yeah, you think you can take it, but you can't take it because this life is eternal. Because this life comes from God, and I can lay this body down and I can take it back up again because my body is inside of the life that I live. Do you get the difference? Well, guess what? He said, greater things ye shall do also. But he was asking us to call up the same powers that he had called up. So we can sit back and we can be spectators in sports and spirituality and talk about what they did, or we can own them ourselves. So who needs a little life? All righty, you ready? Okay. Have this just move down. First of all, do you feel it? Yeah. I thought so. Have it move down, lower abdomen. Fill up the lower abdomen with bright red light. And when you are filled with bright red light, let me know. Great. Cool. There's one life. That life is God's life. That life is centered in you now. And now you are an expression of that life. Not life as the personality, not life as the body, but life as the Spirit using this body and personality to glorify all creation. That's you. And so it is. Okay, now, I want everyone to be blessed. So everyone that came up and be activated, now you get to activate everybody else. So you might as well come on up. So, TC, come on up. If you were activated, you get to share let's spread out though, okay? Spread out a little bit. So, Gay is life. Mark is order. TC is imagination. You are, Zeal. What? Will. Elimination. Understanding. You're going to share those in a minute, but before I do that, I need to just finish with a quote from Charles Fillmore. He wrote this when he was nearing the age of 50. The belief in old age began to take hold of me when I was nearing the half-century mark. I began to feel wrinkled and gray, and my knees tottered, and a great weakness came over me. And I spent hours and hours silently affirming my unity with the infinite energy of the true God. I associated with young. In this way, I was switching the old age current of thoughts. And then I went deep down within my body. See, he worked with his mind, and then he used his whole body. I went deep down within my body, and I talked to the inner life centers. I told them with firmness and decision, that I would never submit to the old age devil, that I was determined to never give in. Gradually, I felt new life currents coming up from my life center. It was a faint trickle of stream at one time, and then it grew stronger by leaps and bounds. My cheeks filled out, my wrinkles and crow's feet were gone, and I actually feel like I am the boy. I actually feel like the boy that I am. See, we're going to drop our body, but we can do it at any time. But we can live fully till we do that. All right, so, Gay, go into your life center, recall it, fire it up, move it through your hands, put your hands out, and it's going to be for anyone that wants it. Order, go into your order center, pull it up. Move it into your hands. Your hands are going to start getting hot, and they're going to be pushed. And if you want any of these, just accept. So the energy will flow through you, to you if you want it. And imagination. Who wants to see what they want to see? TC's got it for you. Okay, Zeal. Who wants to sizzle with some enthusiasm? All right, there we go. Understanding. You're understanding, right? Do I understand that right?
I will.
Oh, no, Will. I saw your forehead, and I still said it wrong. Okay. Will. Oh, goodness, it's hot. Oh, gee whiz. Anyway, who wants to be able to direct their thoughts in a way that's productive for the great higher self that you are? Coming out through the hands. Great. All righty. And you are elimination? Yeah. So fire it up. Put it out through your hands. Share it. Understanding. Share it. All you have to do is accept whatever's happening. And so I speak this word. I speak this word because guess what? Power centers fully on. And my word is a law unto the law. It always has been. As soon as I declare it to be so, and I declare it to be so, that there is an operating principle in the universe that responds to the word when it is in alignment with truth. And the truth is we have all been given capacities that allow us to thrive as human beings and benefit the world around us. And I give thanks that we are now calling forth the capacity to imagine a greater world, to imagine a greater life, to see that which we want to see. Imagination is now strong in this room. And I am so grateful that we are now, all of us, each and every one of us, calling forth the wonderful capacity to understand what is around us, to take in all the pieces and parts and synthesize them into something that is new and different and yet usable. We are not just collecting blocks of information. We are building castles in heaven, because we understand how things work. I am so grateful that we are also, each and every one of us, everyone that wants it, is now calling forth within themselves the will to will God's will, for the will of God is always greater than what we could ever dream of. And now we surrender to that goodness. We surrender to the blessings and the promises that have been made thousands of years ago. We are filled with the promise of life and greater life, abundant life. And I am with you always. We are never alone. And we will to will that will, so that whatever we do is blessed as we fulfill the promises of old. I am so grateful that there is a principle of enthusiasm and zeal, and we are now living it. And we are the very fire of heaven, and we are contagious with the living Spirit, and we get it all over everybody. And if joy is the surest evidence of the presence of God, people get happy around us. And so we can sing as Hafiz sang, I caught the happy virus last night. It's incredibly contagious. Come and kiss me. And people catch it. I am so grateful that we are allowing ourselves to activate the power of order. And we're allowing ourselves to let our life be ordered in such a way that we are an epicenter of balance, harmony, and beauty. And all around us becomes more balanced, more harmonious, and more beautiful. And in that process, we are now able to eliminate those things that we no longer need, whether they are in our mind, in our spirit, in our past lives, if you believe it, or in our body, or in our closet. It's all going bye-bye. If it is not of God, it is not of us. And we are being refreshed and renewed so that we can be born again naturally, without effort. Creation is happening with us, which brings me to life, because life is what happens when we just allow God to be God in us. I am so grateful for this life. I am so grateful that it is activating us and letting us create new ways of being, and new ways to bless the earth, and new ways to bless each other, and new ways to express the creativity of the living Spirit. For we are of God, and God creates, and so we're about it. And I am so grateful that we are living juicy. Why not? We're here. Juice up. And so it is.